So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. So before we begin, I'd like to briefly apologize. Our original moderator, Yoko, our phone Treasury couldn't make it today due to a train disruption. So I'll be stepping in to moderate this session. My name is Taka from Sony Innovation Fund, and I'll be moderating today's panel. So our topic today is the future of blockchain from investment to the real world adoption. So as you all know, blockchain has gone through a number of cycles, from early experimentation to hype, and now increasingly into real-world application. So what we want to focus on today is not just the technology itself, but how it is actually being used in the real world and how it is scaling globally. So we've got three great companies today that represent very different parts of the ecosystem. So Talos, building institutional trading infrastructure. Yoko, focused on payments and real-world use cases in emerging market in particular. And Yawaki, working on fandom and entertainment experiences. So there are all companies that Sony Innovation Fund has invested in, and more importantly, companies we've been working with closely to create value together. So today's discussion will focus not only on what these companies do, but also how collaboration plays a key role in driving real adoption. With that, I'd like to invite Kazu Hadano, CEO of Sony Innovation Fund, to briefly share our perspective. So Kazu, over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm Kaz, heading up Sony Ventures, and then I'm quite happy to have this kind of session to invite portfolio companies, and thank you very much. And then the Sony itself is, we are one of the entertainment companies, so some of different flavors I can put today, and then probably Ethan and Chris and Sota can explain what they're doing and then what they expect Sony after or post-investment activities. And in Sony, the Sony Ventures perspective, we have two main agenda. One is tech side, including deep tech, climate, and enterprise, and the other part is the fintech, Web3, and entertainment. That's the main investment areas where we are now focusing on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kaz. So now let's hear directly from our portfolio companies. So as I mentioned earlier, we have three companies here today. So we each representing a different part of the blockchain ecosystem, from infrastructure to real-world use cases and to consumer application. So let's start with a quick introduction from each of you. So including what your company does and how you've been working with Sony. So from Ethan, please.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Ethan. I'm the CTO and co-founder at Talos. You probably haven't heard of it, but Talos is an institutional crypto trading platform that powers the full trade lifecycle. So we started in 2018, so about 7 years ago, with the thesis that institutions, the biggest institutions in the world, are going to want to trade crypto just like they do any other asset class. And so we set out to build the kinds of systems that feel very familiar to them. So doing crypto trade execution, smart order routing, and liquidity aggregation. And then over the past 7 years, we've built out multiple product areas. So we have an execution platform, portfolio management, treasury, and settlement. And we also acquired a company called Coinmetrics recently, which is the leading provider of crypto data and network intelligence platform. And so what Talos has built out is all the different pieces you need as an institution to trade crypto. You can come to one place and it's all there. And then long term, we think that all assets are going to become digital assets. And that means everything that we're doing in crypto today, so particularly the ability to settle your crypto trades, to move assets in real time, 24/7 on chain, is coming to other asset classes. And that's really going to enable new use cases. What we're seeing, and we're actually seeing that happen today, right? In the US, the DTC has announced that you're going to be able to, by the end of the year, and we're doing test trades in July, so upcoming and very soon, you're going to be able to actually take any security that you hold at DTC, tokenize it, and sell it on chain. And this is really enabling new use cases across finance. And then just a little bit about how we're working with Sony. So I think we first started working with Sony a couple years ago after Sony's acquisition of a company called SBlocks, which is a crypto brokerage. And we were working with them to onboard, and we were having conversations with the team, and they kept saying, you should talk to Kaz. We talked to somebody else, they said, you should actually talk to Kaz about this. And we finally did, we met him in Singapore. And what surprised us is that Kaz isn't talking about just how to build better crypto brokerage infrastructure. He's more thinking about how blockchain can help connect across the Sony ecosystem. And we were really well aligned on that vision of how this should work. And so a funny story too is Kaz also came to our office in Singapore, and we have these race car rigs in every single one of our offices. And he said, next time I come in here, this should be a PlayStation. And that really set the tone for, I guess, how it is working with Sony Ventures. But yeah, we had this really well-aligned vision of how blockchain can help across the ecosystem. And so that's been, and then Sony Ventures invested in Talos late last year. That's.
Thanks, Ethan. So please, Chris.
Yes. Hi, I'm Chris Murray's CEO at Yellow Card. We are the largest licensed stablecoin payments infrastructure provider connecting global and emerging markets. We are focused, like Taka said, very heavily on real world use cases, right? Everybody talks about crypto, everybody talks about stablecoins and blockchain. How do you actually use it to make people's lives better? How do you use it to make companies more efficient rather than it just being this, cool thing out in the ethos that, nobody really understands? And so, when you, as a corporate, when you sign up with us, you get a, full named US bank account that is completely connected to stablecoin rails and to emerging market rails locally across all the countries that we serve, right? Across Africa, Latin America, Asia, et cetera. So we do that today for, we work with a number of great companies, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, over to, more corporates, right? Airtel, a number of airlines, companies like that. And, I think when we originally met with the Sony guys, like Ethan was saying, right? Sony has been thinking a lot about how does this technology actually improve operations and connect the entire, global organization, right? These guys are a big company. I don't know if y'all knew that. These guys are pretty big. And so, they have, all these different parts, all over the world that are doing a number of different things. And, the Treasury is managed separately and payments are managed separately in a lot of cases. And so, stablecoins offer the ability to, really connect that, right, on, on one single platform. And obviously, now with like the Soneium blockchain, that should be the, that connecting rail moving forward. And so, as gaming and as music and entertainment and everything that, that Sony does has gotten more and more popular in places like Africa, in, South America, et cetera, we are, really looking forward to, working with these guys on how do you improve the payment rails in, these difficult countries, right? And in countries where payments are historically very difficult, how do you improve that across the entire organization at once and make it flow as smoothly as moving money between, the U.S. and Japan? So that's one of the big things that we're working on with these guys. And then, I'm hoping that the other thing we'll work on is, Kaz giving me hair tips, man. That's, that's, I need a routine. I need hair care products. I need all of it. So.
Thank you very much.
Great. Right, before moving on to Sota, actually I've sent a slide deck for Yawaki. I've said slide deck, yeah. So if you can show. So next one. Okay, Sota, please go.
Oh yeah. Hello there. This is Sota Moriyama. I'm the CEO of Yawaki Entertainment. I'm honored to be here, and this is actually my first time to come to GCP and London as well, by the way. Yes, can you go to the next slide, please? Thanks. This is my introduction. This is Sota Moriyama again. I was born and raised in Japan and raised with the Japanese pop culture and IP ecosystem. And I have the background in the blockchain field and crypto, and especially in the global layer 1 and layer 2 blockchain development. But like as I back to Japan, now that I'm building the platform that turns the entertainment fandom into lasting value on the top of our platform. Can you go to the next slide? Yes, this is about our company. Yawaki Entertainment, our company, was established as the joint venture of the Japanese entertainment company, especially in the Japanese music field, so as in J-pop field. So yes, so we have the certain backers from the Japanese traditional entertainment field, and our mission is to bring the Japanese entertainment and its culture to the world. So that's how, through the technology, yes. That's how we started our company. And this year, we announced the investment from the Sony Innovation Fund. Like I met with Kazu at the single event in Tokyo, and then had a discussion about how entertainment can, be built on the blockchain. And at the time, we wanted to accelerate the, development of the blockchain platform on our end. So we see that Sony is such a big global company, especially in the entertainment field. So with our mission of bringing the Japanese culture to the world, we align with that vision. So we work together. We decided to work together. Can you go to the next slide? So not only we are not only building the digital platform on the top of the blockchain, but also we are building the entertainment ecosystem from the real world experience. We are actually hosting this idol runway collection. This is the the largest fashion and idol event in Japan. We have been doing this from our company establishment. We have been doing this for 3 years so far. So this is the event for the Japanese music artists, especially idols, performing on the stage and also walking the runway to share their new phase of being fashionable on the stage. Can you go to the next slide? Yes. So we have been doing this for 3 years so far, and we'll have the fourth edition in upcoming September. And basically, on the top of this event as a real fan engagement platform, we have the touch point with the Japanese traditional IP holders, especially idol agency, including Sony Music as well. So can you go to the next slide? This is about the track record of our event. We work with the over 100 top Japanese IP holders from the previous event, and at the last event we attracted more than 12,000 people on the event and broadcasted into the worldwide. And we have this vision of go global for this event business as IP business. We want to export this Japanese IP ecosystem and its culture to the global audiences by working with the global partners as we stand on the stage. Can you go to the next slide? Yes, finally about the blockchain. This is the app that we are building, called ILC app. So basically, we work with all the IPs that we work with our event business to this digital platform as well. Can you go back to that slide? Yes. So the main feature of this this app is about the fandom. So the fan community. So each IP has the fan community by their end. So basically, on the top of the digital world, they are doing the fun activity on the social medias such as X, TikTok, Instagram, and so on. So we basically extract the data from the existing social platform like X, and we evaluate the fans posts on the top of X and score them on chain of the Soneium. So by doing so, we are recording the fans' activity and their contribution on chain, so that this can work as the provenance of their activity for their favorite. And we basically align this digital platform with the real platform as event to maximize the passion of the fan, to align with this flywheel. Yeah, happy to share more details about like how entertainment company thinks about the blockchain and crypto utilization today. Thanks.
Thanks, Sota. So let me move on to the main discussion. So I believe that everybody understands who they are. So let me ask you some questions from Sota. All right, so as Sota explained, Yawaki is utilizing an Ethereum Layer 2 solution named Soneium. Before starting the discussion between Kaz and Sota, let me briefly introduce Soneium. Soneium is an entertainment-focused Layer 2 blockchain co-developed by Sony Group and startups built on Ethereum. So its goal is to create a new on-chain economy for creators and fans by combining entertainment use cases with blockchain infrastructure. So Sota, you mentioned that go global. So, but what is your strategy for Europe specifically? So how do you plan to enter the market?
Yes, for the Europe market itself, this is actually, yeah, the first time, as I mentioned, to come to the London displays. I enjoy pretty much about the food and entertainment. I attended on the other years as Kazu recommended. Like it was so, wonderful. I believe this is the also like very strong market in terms of the entertainment perspective. I mean about the Europe market itself. And as you may know, like Japanese IP itself has the millions of fandom, especially for the anime and gaming field. Even if like this is the overall abroad market. So like in the perspective of the IP business, we want to see how the Europe people thinks about the IP, Japanese IP specifically from the digital data, and by tracking the digital data, we will identify like which is the right market to penetrate, start to work, and but like. There is the second vector of thinking about this. Like we have the like a format of recording the fan engagement in a light model. So like if we can work with the European IP such as the Euro pop or the other IP, it could be sports. We're doing the World Cup and fans are very excited about their performance. This is a fan community as well. So if we can work with the IP, which is already famous in the Europe field, and provide the fan engagement model to their IP, we may be able to start to work in the Europe field. And also like we have the strong partner like Sony, and I actually visited the Sony's UK office yesterday, and it was so insightful discussion there, and we may be able to start to work in this market as very soon.
So Kaz, would you like to welcome your one question to Sota?
Question. So I think he almost explained what he's doing and then what next focus is. So the just a couple of the explanations when I decided to invest in Yawaki, because the at the time, last year, he was a uni student, and then he just completed uni in April,
In March.
in March, and successfully.
Thank you.
He was really, he has, the really great entrepreneurship mind, and then he really, he's really good at communication with Japanese, the J-pop, the agents. So the platform itself is quite the Fandom apps on our chain, Sony's chain, but technology part he's quite expert. And then I'm quite happy to see the more growth to engage with lots of talents, J-pop, K-pop, whatever, by using your platform.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so let me move on to Talos then. So as we heard earlier, Talos is building core infrastructure for institutional trading in digital asset. And what's really interesting here is how that connects with Sony's financial ecosystem. So Ethan, let me start here. So Sony Innovation Fund, you've been able to connect with a number of Japanese institutions, especially financial institutions. So how has that experience been so far?
Yeah, it's been amazing. So the Japanese market is very important for Talos and for digital assets. The Japanese market has real serious financial institutions, a regulatory framework, and also a lot of customer demand. And working with Sony has been great to open up the doors to that market. And a good example of how we're doing that is Sony actually hosted an event for us in Tokyo a couple of months ago. Our CEO was out there. We were able to meet with leaders from Japanese financial institutions and really both listen to them, understand better what the unique requirements are from institutions in Japan for trading digital assets, and also be able to educate them on the kinds of value that Talos can offer. And so that's things like when we're going into markets, we can offer local currency conversions. And so going from, if you want to offer Bitcoin to yen market, Talos has the technology to offer liquidity in dollars and then convert it to yen. And some of the brokerage infrastructure we have, and really the institutional grade and quality of infrastructure that Talos offers for digital assets to those customers. So it's been a great experience opening doors both in Japan and then in the wider Sony ecosystem as well.
Great to hear that. So Kaz, welcome your comment.
Yeah, so as Ethan pointed out, just I think the last week, SBlocks, crypto exchange in Japan, implemented your service to our operations, and then now it's available in our apps. So all teams SBlocks are quite happy to engage with you guys as expected. Then it's really good, and then especially for in the Japanese markets, lots of financial institutions are now working on the POCs, and then to know what it is. But in reality, let's say everybody should have a crypto treasury platform anyway, like what you are providing. Let's say such as easiest way should be Bloomberg or Noita type of services in crypto fields. So somehow I'm expecting you could roll out your services to all markets to engage with financial institutions.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's been great working with Sony, both because you have the internal, like the Sony umbrella of institutions, and there we're working with specific groups to actually innovate and launch new products. So an example of that is how Sony's launching a stablecoin, and if you have a 24/7 stablecoin, you need 24/7 treasury management. And so we're actually working on building new products and releasing new products to market that rely on digital assets, and doing that with the Sony umbrella of companies, and then extending that on to how can we do this in the broader Japanese market.
Great, thank you. So let me move on to Yellowcard then. So as we've heard, Yellowcard is really focused on payments and real-world use cases in emerging markets, in particular across the Africa. So Chris, let me start with this. Your business is very much about real usage, and where do you see the biggest opportunity today in terms of real-world adoption, especially in payments? And in that context, I'd love to understand, how do you think about working with Sony?
Yes, thank you, sir. So, I mean, look, I think, when people talk about stablecoin payments, right? Payments is a very broad word. I mean, there's trillions of dollars of payments that happen every year, everywhere, in cash and card and wire and this and that, in so many different ways. I think that taking a bite of the apple at a time is important, and with stablecoins specifically, when it comes to real-world use cases and real-world payments, remittance is the big one that I think a lot of people talk about. And for anybody that's wondering, stablecoins have been around for, almost 10 years now, right? With Tether and everything. Why have they not solved the problems with remittance yet? It's because the companies that are trying to solve the problems have a financial incentive to not actually have those problems solved, right? Remittance remaining expensive is very good for the bottom line of a lot of companies out there, and a lot of banks and a lot of other institutions. And I think, one of the really powerful things about stablecoins is that it doesn't actually, like, it doesn't care about, the companies in the middle, right? It just completely, completely goes around that, right? And so, the big use case that we see, right, for, real world payments, and this is one of the things that we do with a lot of, banks across Africa, across Latin America, across the Middle East, is enabling these banks, enabling these countries from a central bank level and from a commercial bank level to be able to receive remittances directly on chain, right? Utilizing stable coins to be able to send money to a country without any other payment company involved. So for those of you that don't know, the average remittance right now takes 7 companies to actually get the money from point A to point B, because there's you as the sender, there's your bank, there's Visa or MasterCard, there's the remittance company, their bank, then there's the payments company that's powering the remittance company, their bank, and then there's eventually the receiving institution. Stablecoins completely transcend that, right? And if I need to send money to Kaz in Argentina, then it becomes really easy if Kaz's bank is accepting stablecoins natively. If that bank is accepting USDC, Sony stablecoin, USDT, any of these stablecoins, all of a sudden that's an on-chain payment that goes directly to the bank. The bank gets a notification, credits you in peso, and great, we just did a remittance transaction without anybody else involved. It's on-chain, it's safe, it's monitored, all of that, and there's no remittance company involved, right? There's no payments company involved. And that's really where the world is heading over the the course of the next several years, right? Is as these financial institutions get more involved, these flows just become so much easier. And I think specifically in terms of how we're looking to and hoping to implement this with Sony and some of the work and conversations that we're having within the broader Sony umbrella, is around doing this internally within organizations, right? We do this not just from a remittance standpoint, but then also from a treasury management standpoint, right? There are a lot of companies out there with very complex org structures, right? Tons of entities all over the world, a lot of money stuck in a lot of different bank accounts in Argentina and Colombia and Nigeria and everywhere else. And actually aggregating those funds is critical to operations. And so, from a treasury management standpoint, it's sort of a, microcosm of what this looks like at a macro level for remittance, right? Being able to actually move that money effectively, handling that liquidity, handling those conversions into stable coins, and then being able to move that money to Japan, to the US, to wherever it is that you need it. And it's just so much more efficient with stable coins. And obviously, in the case of Sony, the fact that they've already put out their own blockchain, they have their own stable coin, all of that makes it, even easier to actually be able to aggregate that across, the entire ecosystem for a company like Sony.
Excellent. So Kaz, please speak.
So I have one question to Chris. So everybody's talking about agentic AI, let's say AI agent, and then the AI to agent, the settlement should be needed, especially from your perspective, assuming the agents would be everywhere. What kind of services can you start?
Yeah, I mean, I think like agentic to agentic commerce is obviously the future. Right now, there are more payment protocols for agentic commerce than there are agentic commerce transactions. But I think obviously this is something that is coming and that is critically important, right? And the reality is that as you look out over the next 10 years. A lot of the decisions that are made right now by humans or by like a treasury manager or something like that, on a team, are eventually going to be made by agents, right? If I look at a platform like Talos as an example, it's almost a good example, right? We have all of our liquidity providers in one place, and then nobody has to go ping everybody and decide which rate is the best, right? It's you get it all in one place, and then an agent can just say, this number is bigger than this number, right? That's as easy as possible. And so these decisions are going to be made more and more at an agentic level. And again, as you look out 10 years, it's going to be agents on the other side managing the rates too, right? And so they're going to need to be able to transact I think, stable coins are undoubtedly the best way for agents to transact in terms of like human payment methods. I will say, like, getting a little sci-fi, I think that, agents will probably come up with their own payment methods, right? I think, this idea that like our human payment methods are going to be good enough for, agents is, a little, how do you say, egotistical maybe, but, and so, I mean, agents can transact in tokens, they can transact in compute, they can transact, I mean, there's so many other things that, they can determine amongst themselves as valuable to each other, but definitely stable coins, in terms of all the payment methods that exist today in, the real economy, stable coins are the obvious one for, instant, confirmed transaction settlement that agents are going to be utilizing.
Thank you very much. Yeah, for your expectation or idea.
All right, so thank you so much. So looking at time, we have to close this session. So thank you again. Thank you so much to all our panelists for the great discussion. So today, we've seen how blockchain is moving forward beyond just investment or speculation into real-world adoption across infrastructure, payment, and consumer experiences. So, and what's particularly exciting is how collaboration plays a key role in making that happen, bringing together different capabilities, ecosystem, and markets. So from Sony's perspective, it's not just about investing, but about building and creating value together. So with that, we will wrap up this session, but please feel free to come talk to us afterwards. So we'll be all around. So thank you very much.